offside.
Welcome back to another episode of No Offsides. I'm Dan Dean here with a couple pro roller players from the Champion Wheelers. We're going to be talking with Tyler Shetland and Dylan Dix today. How are you, boys?
Doing good. How are you?
Living the dream, living the dream.
Love to hear it.
So, you guys have Champion Wheelers, right? Let's start off with that. Now, Champion Wheelers were on year two?
Technically year two of the champion team. The core was together with the Epic Society team, so this is technically our third year together.
Okay. See, I did not know that.
Bit has changed, but a little bit of the core, and obviously, like Shetland was the one running it, so that's kind of carried over from there, and then obviously just grown from that and built off the Wheeler stuff. So,
okay, so you started off as Epic Society, right? I mean, what from there to Champion Wheelers, right? What's the process of like changing brands, changing team names? Are we, what's the process of what players to keep, or are we keeping the same team at first, or what's going on there?
A lot of it was just a realignment thing. I mean, it was nothing too crazy, but at the end of the day, the move enabled us to kind of open up a little bit more and, get a few more opportunities that we weren't going to be able to before. So, Daniel was great and everything, and, all the respect to him, and, our jerseys were unbelievable that year, and, we had a good crew, and, just moving on to the Wheeler side of things has really been able to, let us flourish a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think, when it was Epic, this whole started as a bunch of buddies that knew each other through ice, hadn't played with each other for a long time. They're like, hey, should we take a stab at this and see where it goes? And then obviously we've just been building year on year, and just that, that brand sponsorship and Chris at Champion was just a step in, in that direction of evolving it from, just a bunch of buddies playing some roller together. It still is, but, a bit different now.
I mean, you touched up on, both of you at least, and probably a bunch of other guys, right, playing ice hockey. Where does everyone's, especially both of you, where do your paths cross to meet each other?
So actually, our paths crossed are a little bit crazy. It happened in a couple different avenues. So we played college hockey against each other to start, and we were supposed to hate each other. And then he was at the University of Utah, I was at the University of Arizona, so it was a bit of a rivalry thing going on. Our captains could not stand each other. Dixie was the captain of his team. So, that was pretty fun. And then I met him over the summer through one of our buddies back home for roller. And, after that one weekend, we hit it off, and he's been on the team ever since. We got super close. My captain from the University of Arizona started playing roller, and now the two of these guys love each other. So funny how things come full circle. But yeah, it was a fun ride, and things have been good since.
Okay. I mean, while we're on the topic, and we'll get back to Champion Wheelers, I mean, for the both of you, I mean, what you go from playing ice, some of you play juniors, and then you play college ice. Why roller now? Why not men's league it and just kind of, live your life playing like a division men's league ice?
Yeah, I mean, I'll grab this one first. I grew up playing roller hockey first, so I've always played. I stopped for a while once at like 12, 13. That whole, during that time, it was seen as a battle. Years ago now, kind of just spawned with my older brother. He's 7 years older than me, so we never really got to play with each other growing up. So that's kind of what got me back into roller. It presented that opportunity for us to be teammates and we started like a men's team together called the Salt Kings. So like that was kind of where it started, and then it trickles from there. And
Yeah.
like Tyler said, met him over the summer through some mutual friends, and kind of just took off.
I would say for me, my story's maybe a little bit different in roller. This is realistically probably going to be my 3.5 year of playing roller hockey. Even though I grew up in SoCal, I kind of grew up with the stigma and coaches that like roller hockey is going to ruin your game,
Yep.
blah, 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 blah. And, that's just completely not true and has been completely blown wide open. But at the end of the day, getting on the rollerblades, like, for me, it was just a break from ice, and you don't have somebody necessarily breathing down your neck telling you what you can and can't do, and you're able to play free and make plays that you wouldn't be able to make before. And I think the game's just super fun, and at the end of the day, I also think building something from the ground up has also been a blast, and just continuing to try to climb ladders and break through walls is a lot of fun. So we would definitely want to keep going.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you guys, let's go back to last year, right? So we're talking, let's even just go State Wars, because that's the pinnacle. You guys get the call for the play-in, right? Just miss out. But overall, I mean, for the play-in, you guys did pretty well.
Yeah, it was a good step. I mean, obviously that's a big tournament to be involved in as early as we are. So it was really fun to be in that, like, that the new play-in thing as well was a really cool idea by Tim, I think. And yeah, I think it was a big year for us. And I think that's really where the light bulb went off of like, hey, like we got something here. Where I think like kind of prior to that, it was, hey, we're building, we're young, we're figuring it out. Where I think that whole summer, honestly, last year was kind of the big, again, like I said, eye-opening thing for us that like we can do this. We're close. We're right on that cusp. Tough loss in the finals of that play, and that was a tough way to go down. But I mean, that Black Ice 2.0 team was great too on their debut, tournament there too. So it was a really, really big turning point for us, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not here to bash any other teams, but you've had, let's just take Blood and Feathers. Love them. Had them on last week. But they haven't had the success that they would hope for either, right? But like, you are sitting here going, okay, playing, which not necessarily whether some people want to count it as pro wins or whatnot, but a good showing, right? So, and that's kind of what you can build on is you take second in the play-in, so let's just call it it ends up being a plat, right? So you build on that. So now we're here. You guys didn't do tours, and now your first showing for the summer is going to be Narch next weekend. I mean, what are the expectations for Narch? I mean, we have a 14 pool pro division. There's new teams like the Fleas. You have Maven San Diego. The Freeze are now here. You got Hopa. There's a fusion team. I mean, you got a ton of teams. Some of them new. Some of them are probably just rebranded. But I mean, what are expectations going into that weekend?
I think for us, we want to make playoffs
Okay.
at kind of a bare minimum. I think if we can get in the playoffs, we're going to be, feeling pretty good. I think when our roster comes out, definitely it's going to be looking pretty good. And that's going to help, especially compared to some previous years. So, we've definitely had good cores and stuff, but this year I think we're bringing a full 12 to the tournament, and hopefully we can make this our breakthrough major for us.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. And I think based off of that, or going off that like core comment too, this is the first time we're going to see extremely similar rosters from Narch to State Wars, where we've never had that. I don't think we've had more than maybe 5 or 6 guys, probably only 5, that have played back-to-back tournaments together as a core. So we've done a good job, piecing it together and filling gaps where we need to over the years. But like I said, I think we have 9 or 10. I think 9 of our guys are playing both.
It is 9
weekends, obviously. So That's a huge step for us. And like Tyler said, like this roster, I'm excited. Like it's gonna be a fun team with some sparks flying.
So you took the wind right out of my sails because I was going to ask you eventually, if there's going to be any turnover from, Narch to State Wars, but with 9 guys, there's going to be a lot of transparency in the play. You guys are going to hopefully have the chemistry going from one tournament to the next. But it's also nice to not have to learn a new line mate every tournament either.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
that's been our struggle. We've had that. We've had great rosters. We've built great teams. It's just we build them for a tournament, and it's tough, with everyone's schedules, and obviously a lot of our guys being ice guys, their schedule, their training, their seasons. It's been tough to kind of line up a consistent group where, like I said, this is like where we took the big step this year of finding guys that are in for both, and being able to kind of help them out and get them to the place they need to get.
I mean, so not that I'm asking for a roster reveal, but from last year, let's just take State Wars. How many familiar faces are we going to see?
4 to 5.
Okay, so we're getting pretty close to almost an entire roster overhaul.
It's going to be more consistent with what we've seen with the rosters this summer that have kind of been trending in a better direction.
Okay.
It'll be a mix of that and a few other little sprinkles that we brought in.
Okay. I mean, so from last year to this year's roster, I mean, what is looking at kind of what the changes were that needed to be made? I mean, what was the focus? Is it dedication? Is it like, we need more goal scoring, better defense?
I think it's just that consistency was the biggest piece for us. I mean, when we first started looking, like anyone does, you try to go get every single best player you possibly can for each tournament. And that's great, but it's not the most sustainable. So I think the kind of approach we took this year this is the time to, for us to find our core, for us to find our, 8, 9, 10 guys that are going to be there, familiar faces every tournament, for years to come kind of thing. So I can let Tyler obviously speak on it a bit too, but I think that was our biggest focus.
Yeah, that for sure. And, on top of the consistency, like just, also people that understand IQ wise, I think is a huge thing for us. If you learn roller and if you don't, coming from ice, and you can kind of tell. And so, our goal was definitely to get more roller for sure.
Yeah.
Always get more roller. And I think going off that too is the culture bit of it too. Like this started with, a bunch of buddies hanging out playing roller, and we don't want to lose that aspect of it. That's what makes roller fun. We don't want to grab guys just because they're good players. We want to grab guys because they're good guys, and, sit around the fire at the end of the night and chat shit and, build those moments too, aside from, the hockey side of it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you want to go there and you want to enjoy every second and not just be like, oh shit, we sucked this weekend, like, oh, this fucking sucks, blah blah blah. Right? No, you want to enjoy the game, you want to enjoy the locker room, you want to enjoy, whether it's watching more roller or sitting back at the hotel Airbnb and just shooting the shit.
Yeah, and always the classic end of tournament night out too. You gotta have a good group in the mix for that.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
So I mean, I think it was today you guys unloaded a lot of sponsors. I mean, you want to give them a shout?
So as we can kind of go one by one, I'll start with the first one. We have Get Saucy Hockey, custom apparel. They have all that good stuff. Check them out. We just got with them. They were our last one that we just picked up. Super thankful for them. They've been great so far. Nothing but good things with Get Saucy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree. They're awesome. We've been kind of going back and forth with them, wanting to get a kind of thing that worked out with everyone, and we're glad we got it done. We're doing something unique with our Buckies this year, and Saucy's a big part of that. So we'll drop a little sneak peek of that. Nothing too crazy, but something new for us. So they were huge in that. And then obviously our next one too was Best Damn Tape. We had them last year too. Unbelievable little kind of, mom and pop hockey tape company out of, I think, Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. Logan, sorry if I got it wrong. But started by a kid fresh out of juniors, Logan Kuko. It's kind of building it with his dad.
Okay.
And it's the best clear tape I've ever put on my legs. I don't know how to describe it.
It's
I didn't think
so
clear tape could be
fucking
that
good.
different. But it's unbelievable. And they're a steady presence in D1 locker rooms. I'm pretty sure they're in the Ducks locker room in the NHL. So was fired up to kind of get them back in and kind of grow that partnership as they grow. We're kind of in the same stage, younger company, younger team. We see it as a partnership that could really, grow together.
I mean, I gotta stop you there because I mean, I gotta know about this tape. So, like, is this like, we got a lot of like, you can really crank this thing around your leg and get a tight fit, or
you remember the clear tape back in like mid 2000s that wouldn't make the sound when it comes off the roll?
Yes.
It's like that. It's that stuff's back. It like stretches and then just sticks and it doesn't come back together. Like, it's the best.
And it's like the perfect, I don't know what it's like, the perfect amount of stretch too. Like it seems crazy that we're this fired up about fucking clear tape, but we got it last summer and we're like, I'm never using anything else. Like, this is unbelievable.
All right. I mean, hey, if anyone else wants to be fired up about tape, there you go, boys.
Yeah. And then I'll kind of grab the next one too. We also announced Live Financial, kind of a rogue one there. Came from, I actually played ice in the UK last year. So he was one of our sponsors for my team in the UK, and just a really awesome dude, really supportive of the hockey brand. He's just a diehard, went to every game over there. And, when we were, looking to raise some money, I reached out and I was like, hey, kind of an odd market for you, but, maybe is this something you're interested in? And they do a lot of like the foreign currency exchange, currency exchange, stuff like that. So again, kind of a random one for a roller team, but just an unbelievable guy that, really just wants to see, the people around him succeed and help out where he can.
Hey, you got to grab the guys that love hockey, right?
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. And then our last one that we have is Shutout Designs. They do custom decals on goalie helmets. They look phenomenal. Their page looks great. You go and check it out. Goalies. They're also going to be doing our stickers for our helmets, which we can give you that sneak peek. They are going to look awesome. So they're good, really good.
Yeah, player and goalie stuff. So any decal need, they'll get you taken care of.
I mean, we talking like Mr. Heffy decals on helmet, or are we talking even better than that?
Pretty much that, not necessarily the stickers. Like, it'll look like a full helmet wrap.
Okay.
So it's like that. Basically, get yourself, it'll look like a custom helmet.
Nice.
Yeah, the goalie ones are unbelievable. And then our little sneak peek isn't that crazy. We went a little bit more OG retro look, but they're hooking us up with that too. So it's awesome. It helped with all the design and sizing and all that, made it way easy.
Okay. I mean, just random question. I mean, jerseys are nice, but they're not necessarily roller loud. I mean, is there like, maybe like next year we got to come in with a louder design, or?
I think we were roller loud last year a bit. Like, we had a lot of the, old layouts. I mean, again, quite not roller wild, but for ice guys, as wild as we could get, kind of, without tearing our heart out. Where this year we decided to go a little more of the retro look and try to stick out in that way. Where, everyone's doing the over top, the crazy designs, the color everywhere. We thought it could be kind of an interesting take to do the opposite, and a little bit like the Vegas Winter Classic to an extent, but even further back and really go that retro look and try to stand out in a different way.
Okay. Hey, listen, I know how hard it is for ice guys to, convert over, and, listen, I'm all for simple design. It's got to be executed very well, but, I know, ice guys are, kind of look down on the roller designs.
We're coming around. Baby steps.
Baby steps. I don't necessarily think we look down on it. It's just a matter of like a confidence thing too, almost maybe. Like, are we really going to be able to get something that sick? Like, I mean, for example, just to give the Skittles credit for their uniforms, like, they're unbelievable. And it's like, you got to think of something like that. And so we're like, okay, let's maybe turn it back a little bit. We have pants that are going to be debuting in March with our new jerseys, so
Okay.
hopefully helps a bit, and yeah, hopefully we look clean.
And that's all you can ask for, right? Is just a nice, clean, uh, you know, not clashing. Like the jerseys go well and fit well with the pants.
Yeah. Yeah, we went the old Flyers route, Cooperall style a bit. So we went back to the '80s look. So we'll
Okay.
see how it looks out on the pad.
Okay. So there's new jerseys this year.
New Jersey's this year as well. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
okay. Okay.
Yeah, warm a bit at Wish Cup and Colorado Cup. So not new, but we haven't done
but
any.
they probably weren't that recognizable because we had last year's pants,
Yeah.
and because last year's pants popped so much, I don't think the jerseys really looked all that different.
Okay.
Weird caveat, but it is kind of yeah.
So let's talk Narch scheduling here, right? Honestly, not a bad schedule pull for you guys. You know, you got Fusion, Car Shield, which I mean, Car Shield's the toughest one. You got PGKA and Freeze. Um, you know, like, I'm just gonna be honest here. If we go 3-1, best record for the weekend, you know, and I think you guys could definitely pull off as little as a 2-2, right? I mean, I think you have a very favorable schedule this week. Well, next weekend I should say in Arch. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
We don't necessarily disagree at all. We know every game's going to be hard. You know, teams are going to bring it. It's Narch finals. Anything can happen. It's still a 2-period game, but you know, we like our spot.
Yeah, I like the clash of, the couple teams in there that are in a similar boat as us, trying to prove themselves, trying to get a little scrappy. So that's kind of a fun little wrinkle of, some of the new kids on the block competing, especially, Freeze coming up. I wasn't there, but I had a clash with them at Colorado Cup that didn't quite end in our favor. Not quite the roster, nowhere near the roster actually we're bringing here. It's much different, but that's fun. And then obviously it's always fun to play those car shields, those pommels with black ices.
Yeah.
Like that's the real, testing ground there. Like if you want to be a legitimate contender and presence in the roller community, those are the teams you got to compete with. And it's always great to have an opportunity to test that and see where we're at. And, as a younger program, those are the guys you kind of set the bar against. So that'll be a nice little, bonus, tough one, but a bonus one there.
Well, I mean, you always got to have, that you always at least want, I mean, me personally, if I'm going into a tournament, I want to play, if there's like 3-4 top teams, you want to play at least one of them to gauge yourself, especially, and if you look at the other side, right, you look at like Car Shield doesn't want a walk of a round robin either. It doesn't set them up for playoff hockey, right? So,
Yes.
You always want at least 1 or 2 test games, and I think, and if you could pull out a win in those hard games, I mean, that just sets you up for more success and a better seed in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Now, it looks like, I mean, we got top 9 making playoffs here, right? Let me just go back here. I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. Hold on. Give me 1 second. So, you got top 9. You guys are probably familiar with, because you guys are California boys, so you guys are familiar with OC Blades, right? You Skittles, PGKA, then you have the Pama Knights. I mean, like I said, there's a few, like, chemistry is just an ever revolving door on names. So you just never know who's playing on that team. I mean, Hope of Phoenix, that's another Cali team. But I mean, I feel like you guys could definitely get into the playoffs. I mean, I don't think it's an unrealistic expectation or goal setting.
Yeah. I think ideally too, maybe not to be too ambitious, but I'm hoping to climb out. Like I want to be at least that 7 seed. I want to eliminate that 8-9 game. I don't want to take it to chance. I think we're in a position where we could easily grit that and not have to play that extra game going into it. which obviously the least amount of games you can play, the better, because like Tyler said, it's March. You'll never know what's going to happen. So I think that's probably where I'm looking. I want to get that top 7 and be able to avoid that, extra little play in game. And I fully agree with you. I think it's well within our reach as long as we, show up and play the way we know we can play, and get the roster all meshed together.
100% agree. That top 7 is definitely going to be our goal for sure.
Okay. And I mean, you look at it and 1 win theoretically in previous years, 1 win with a good goal diff. Actually, I think Narch does goals against as their first tiebreaker.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep, they do.
So with a good goals against, 1 win could and usually gets you in on that 8-9, which is obviously not where you want to be. But like I said, looking at your schedule, Carshield's gonna be tough. The Freeze is gonna be a battle, and then the other 2 rosters is gonna be dependent on who they picked up, right? It's just, and that's just kind of with Narch, and actually not even just Narch, but like those teams like Chemistry. And it's just like the consistency of rosters, kind of like what you guys have been battling in your first year, is you just never know who they're gonna have. I'm just seeing, I don't know whose roster he's going on, but Chucky Slick's back apparently for Narch, even though he's skating across America right now, right? But it's just like, whose roster is he ending up on, and you just don't know.
Yeah, that's the crazy part about rollers. You don't know who's going to be there. Obviously, the more established teams have their core, it's a little more predictable, but who these guys kind of throw together is always interesting. So it's tough to get a read on it, like you said, because you just have no idea who's going to show up and what team that's going to be. So, and yeah, totally on your point. That has been us for the last couple of years, and like I said, it works. You can build good teams that way. So definitely don't want to sleep on any of those teams. Like, those roster buildings, like you can pull together a good team even if it's not a core. So they'll be strong rosters, I'm sure.
I completely agree. I mean, at the end of the day, it's roller. So, these guys learn quick, and, all you really need is a few games to get gelled with people, and, maybe not to win a tournament, but to win a few games. All it takes is a little bit of time and, a little bit of commitment. And, if they pull together the right guys that are able to bear down and commit to the right things, definitely anybody can have a good tournament.
Are we going to see Heffy on the roster?
He's full time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was one of the big ones, obviously. Like last year, he kind of dipped his toe into it. And it's the more he plays, the more this guy just loves it. Like he almost wishes he doesn't play ice. Didn't ever play ice, I think. He's a big full roller guy now, plays out and all. He's fully buying into it. So having him for both tournaments this year is going to be unbelievable. Like, he's just an absolute stud back there. And just a hilarious guy to have around too. Oh, yeah. So it's glad he's around.
It's definitely, he's a locker room guy. He's a workhorse. I was going to say, if I need to deliver a message to him, I can. He kind of only lives like 3-4 hours from me, so
might take you up on that. But no, he's in. He's fully in. We're pumped about it.
He's great.
Yeah, he complains all the time about, like, oh, my knees, and then next thing you know, I watch highlights of him just jumping around the net, making saves at Wish Cup and stuff like that, and I'm like, your knees don't hurt.
Yeah, or no wonder they do hurt. Look at you play.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, no, we've told him many times we're gonna run you till those things fall off. So.
And then every month he's buying a new set of pads or getting a new set of pads, so you just never know what pads he's gonna be wearing when he plays anyway. So
absolute wild card.
Now, you talked about. So you talked about ice guys coming in and trying to get them to learn to play roller, right? Obviously, some guys are harder than others, but overall, to get these guys to know and play roller style? What's that approach?
I think and this is going to seem weird the way I describe it, but you can tell the way they play ice if they're going to be able to play roller or not. And it's hard to explain, but if a guy is more meat and potatoes on the ice and isn't super cerebral and doesn't pull up much or, have good spatial awareness, it's rare to see them be good at roller. But if the guy's super smart, he's good at slip plays, he curls back in the zone, even like if it's a bigger and more physical guy, but he like knows how to hold up the play and like make guys wait and open up space and create lanes that others wouldn't, that's a roller player that's going to be
Okay.
able to transition and learn it. But then at the same time, you always get, there's times where it still doesn't work out that way. And what it all comes down to is either like they can or they can't. And it's pretty hard to teach sometimes too.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think the IQ is the biggest side of it, because at the end of the day, like, they know, like, you know how you need to play roller, the changes you need to make, and if they can think an ice game in that terms of systems, in that terms of way of play, and they have a high IQ in that sense, even if they've never played, they'll pick it up and they get it, and it just clicks. I think it's the biggest thing. And then I think the other thing too is the skating. Like, it's just an absolute wild card. It blows my mind. Some guys can just step over, never do it, and take off, and some guys just will never quite get there. It's just, and obviously skating's make or break in roller. If you can't skate, you're going to be a pretty big liability out there. So that's always the interesting one to me, is like, vice versa. Like, you'll see this beautiful skater on ice and you get on roller and you can't fucking stride. And then the flip side, where it's like this guy all of a sudden just land and look like he's been playing roller for 20 years. So that's the gamble a little bit. I think the IQ is a little more predictable part.
I think you guys just should take a 4-on-4 NHL game or 3-on-3 and be like, okay, you see what they're doing here? You see how you see how he got the puck in the zone. He's like, no, we got nothing. Bring it back. Do this.
Yeah. I think that's the big part, and what's nice to have guys like Tyler and myself and some of the other guys that have played a lot of both. You can make those comparisons and make those relations, and obviously the more of those you make, the easier it's going to click. So comparing it to the PK forecheck is a pretty similar forecheck to a roller forecheck. A box, man, like, everyone knows the vocab. It's just comparing those situations that happen daily, gamely in ice, and applying that to the roller game.
Yep, for sure. Not too much more to say there. That was basically everything.
So, I mean, or you could just tell them, hey, okay, you're playing ice hockey, no centerman now.
Yeah. You still get
Pretty
a run
much.
gun there. The running
It's
gun.
then you get into
Yeah.
stretching and stuff too, where, certain guys will learn that and pick up on it and understand, like, sometimes you do actually have to go stretch the floor and wait down there for the play to start moving and, do different things to create space. So, I mean, yeah, for as similar as it is to 4-on-4 ice, it's still so different.
Yeah.
So,
And that's always been our little jokes and stuff in the intermissions of like, we're playing ice on wheels, guys. We need to play more roller. Like, that's like, it's the vocab that always happens. Like, we're playing ice on wheels. We got to play more roller. And that's kind of the mentality. And obviously each year we're getting better at it. So.
Okay. Now let's shift over to State Wars, right? You have play-ins. There's 8 teams. 2 what's the word I'm looking for? You have 2. You have 2 separate. I'm drawing a blank on this.
The brackets, yeah.
Brackets.
Yeah, the brackets. Yeah, you get 2 different divisions inside the play-in. For lack of a better word, there's a better word for that, but I can't even think of it right now. But I mean, I'm drawing a blank on who's on your side of the bracket. Who's on your side of the bracket for that?
I'm actually not too sure.
Yeah, I don't. Is there anything that's been made? Was that photo of the play-in with the teams on the 2 sides, the brackets? Dixie, do you know?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know they uploaded all the teams in, so you can see everyone in the play-in. I don't know if I've seen. I might have just missed it, but I don't know if I've seen the brackets announced yet.
Yeah, I definitely haven't. And if they have, then I probably should have seen it. But I
well, I could probably tell you. Well, hold on. Let's
see if I can find it.
Well, the schedule's out, so that should really tell us. I think it is the picture. Let's see, Mach 1, Car Shield Blast. So that's a bracket. It's you, Ringster. Who are you playing is the question. All right, so your bracket is you, Ringster, Freeze, and Blood and Feathers. So we're gonna call that division the group of death, because
Yeah.
I mean, you got well, no, because maybe you guys are all on the same. Maybe you are, because you guys should all play each other on your side of the bracket, because
Yeah, I think that's how it works. I think you play everyone in your bracket, and then the championships, the crossover,
Yep. Well, semis then final.
or semis. Yeah. Yeah, so it's
yeah.
like we got Ringster, Freeze, and Blood and Feathers. Yeah.
Okay, well, there's your bracket. Now we're all informed on that one. I mean, like I said, we're gonna call that the group of death, which means that it's 2.0. Let me go back to that screen. Which means that it's what Car Shield Blast 2.0, Sweden,
Skittles.
and then
Mock or chemistry. Yeah,
chemistry. Yeah. So, yeah, you got those as your other side. Which, like I said, looking at your side of the bracket, it's the group of death, where you could probably see two of those teams come out of what if you put them on either side, right? So, it's the luck of the draw. I would be very curious on how these groups are drawn. I mean, you have the freeze, which you'll get a good look at this in Norwich, whether you play them or you get to watch them a lot. So their roster shouldn't really change that much from between the two. But I mean, you go up against Blood and Feathers, and so I mean, those two games are going to be, because I feel like one of you three teams are coming out of that side.
Yeah. I think it's going to be fun. I mean, it kind of like we talked about in Narch. It's fun to be paired with those groups. Teams that are in the same area as you, and grasping for that chance and that move on. So those are definitely going to be just some battles. And I think, meanwhile, it's tough. Again, like you said, luck of the draw. You can't really choose who you play, obviously. I think those games will set us up really well to, if we do, show up and play how we can play and make that, step up to the main tournament. I think those games will be massive, massive warm-ups and massive, getting it on the right plane. Like you said, you don't want easy games all the time and then have to step into, a powerhouse right away. So I think it's the good and the bad. It's going to be tough, but I think it'll be worth it. If we're able to kind of climb up that other side, we'll be much better off.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm super excited for our group to take on this challenge. I think it's going to be really good for us to see, what we can do with some consistent competition, and, definitely looking forward to the test as well. It's always fun to be challenged, always fun to have to, get through something to get to that next stage. So hopefully we can make it happen this year.
Yeah, and it's just like I said, you are one of the few teams that I'm looking at to like, all right, you guys have had some success, whether it's in play-ins or other tournaments. Now it's it's gonna be interesting to watch to see like, is this the year that you're able to make the next step, or do you at least grow as a team and you're like, okay, maybe if, this year was tough draw or whatever, but like, if you at least make the next like another step, there's a bright future.
Yeah, I think for sure that's we definitely think we are going to see some growth this summer, essentially no matter what. I think with these next two rosters, it's essentially inevitable that we're going to get better, and we're going to be better for it. And we have the right people to help us along the way, and we are at the end of the day we're looking forward to seeing what we can do, especially now that we feel pretty locked and loaded and ready to go.
Yeah, and I think that step we took in like that consistency piece, I think we're already better off than I think we've already made a bit of that step. if it's from, the organizational, the cultural side, whatever it is, getting that kind of consistency. Like I'm just fired up about having 9 guys in back-to-back tournaments. Like that's going to be unbelievable. So I think the small steps already been made, and then we obviously got to translate that to the rink and make the steps in the tournaments as well.
Okay. So I'm gonna get a little more like personal on like your playing careers right now. So I'm gonna go with you first. So you obviously played University of Arizona. They have a pretty solid D1 team and AA. You know, so you talked about how like your coaches growing up were like no roller hockey. I mean, is that one of the reasons why you never played both, or is that kind of like what was told to you?
I played ice at the University of Arizona, but for that part of it, growing up, it wasn't necessarily that they said not to play. It was that it was so frowned upon and so looked down on that it was essentially like my parents and myself were like, screw this sport almost. Like this is for softballs. And at it was just weird, the stigma behind it, because it wasn't just me. It was like everyone. There was not a lot of really really good hockey players playing roller. I mean, there was a select few when I was younger, like the Gong Show and high roller teams from Southern California that had 8 guys each, I think. So there was around probably 16 to 24 guys playing roller that were actually really good ice players too. But that's out of like 8 teams of legit ice guys. So it's definitely come full circle. But yeah, when I was growing up, that was kind of the whole deal was, your ice will get worse, and, you're going to get bad habits, and, you're going to make stupid drop passes and stick handle too much. And yeah, it's just not that way anymore.
So it was never like never even a thought of like well, maybe I play ice and maybe even try and make a couple weekends for roller.
Not at all. It was, roller was for the street hockey part of it. And that was pretty much it,
Okay.
which it sucks, but because of how much I love it now. But yeah, it's definitely wasn't a part of my growing up.
Okay. Now, Dylan, you kind of touched on it. You went over to Great Britain and you played. Was it? I guess. What is that? Juniors or pro or?
Yeah, I played pro over there
Okay.
for my last year. So I finished up, like Chet said, we played against each other in college. So I was at University of Utah. And I finished up my 5 years there. And my dad's British, so dual citizenship. Always kind of wanted to get over there at some point, and I wasn't quite done playing. And I thought it'd be a cool experience to, go live in a different country, play some more hockey, and yeah, just kind of experience that. And I was actually lucky enough to hop over on Team Great Britain for roller hockey over
and
too.
that's what I was going to touch up on is you got to play for Great Britain because
Yeah.
I mean, which is great because let's be honest, cracking Team USA is a tall task these
Yeah.
days. So I mean, and I was going to ask you if you had dual citizenship, and but I mean, what was your experience with Team Great Britain?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Like it was a whirlwind. I landed in the UK, was there for a week, and then went to Italy with the boys, not meeting any of them until we got to the airport to head out. So guys from all over, a lot of northern England guys, and I was more in the south. So big accent change, big culture change. I'd just gotten used to the accent I was at, and then I had to learn a whole new one a week later. But it was an unbelievable experience. Like I said, like those guys are awesome. And it was a cool mix of, the last generation and the new generation. They had, I think we were about 50-50 split between, 35 plus and under 30.
Okay.
So it was kind of those, like I said, those two generations clashing a little bit. And then it's in a cool spot because it's going to take that next step. And like I said, kind of fully buy into that new generation of younger guys coming up. So it was a really cool experience. I mean, the tournament was like top notch. Floor was the biggest floor I've ever played on in my entire life. I'm pretty sure it was an Olympic sheet ice with roller on it. It was insane. Not suited for my skill sets quite with the skating there, but it was an awesome experience. And like just, getting to know those guys, like obviously getting back into the roller culture, like, you know, those teams, those tournaments, everyone gets along, everyone hangs out. You know, so I got to meet, you know, all the US guys, all the Canada guys. Like we had a couple wheelers on the Canadian side too, so I got to catch up with them. And just, yeah, like, I mean, the French teams, the Italian teams, like it was just a really cool experience to kind of see everyone else's view on it. And they love to, you know, a lot of them have never played an arch, never played a state wars. So
Yeah.
it was fun to kind of chat with them about it, and just an overall just awesome experience.
Okay. And Coach Smiley, he was one of the coaches, right, for the team?
No, he was, I think he was somehow affiliated. I had never met him. We had Ben Lau, who played high level. He was in the EIS, the top league in England for a bit for ice, and kind of just recently stopped playing roller. I think he's got some injuries and stuff. And then Walshy was our backup, kind of just an absolute GB legend. He's like, I think he's in his 40s, played for GB for 25 plus years. So two really great guys.
Something you'll consider doing in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping to get to European Championships this year, but it was scheduled smack dab in the middle of March. So the boys are getting ready to head over back to Italy for Euros in a couple of days. So bummed I missed out on this year, but hoping I can move back in for Worlds next year again.
Okay. So Shet, I guess dual citizenship for Great Britain now?
Not yet. I actually can get it. It's just a little bit of a weird way. My mom is Persian, but she's from Iran, but was born in England and lived there till she was like 1.5. And so I actually can get birthright citizenship.
We're working on it.
We will see.
Hey, I mean, you know, if you can take the step and do international roller, I mean, I think, you know, you got to do it.
Yeah. And we got Aaron Giddings too. I think he's bounced around a bit, you know, made a big debut last summer. Goalie snipers at State Wars. I I forgot who he was with at Tours, but he's also born in England. So we're getting they were calling me the plastic Brit. So we're trying to see what we can do and get a couple more in the mix. Rory Herman too, from San Diego. He's got his dual citizenship. So we're scheming a little bit of a potential US influence in the GB community.
There we go. Hey, I mean, and any way to get that experience and to get that, you know, just that memory, right? I mean, I watch the games and I'm like, even at the Pan American games, and I'm like, that wasn't even a thing when I was younger, or at least I didn't even know about it, and I'm like, oh, I missed out on that. And also playing ice hockey growing up too, it was like roller, ice, roller, and then, you know, now I'm like, roller for college wasn't even a thought.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, it's come so far that I'm just like born in the wrong time.
It is cool to see the developments. You know, college rollers getting better and better every year, more structured every year. So it's definitely cool to see, because it would be, you know, if you make me 10 years younger coming back up, that might be a tough decision. If there's a, you know, legit, you know, college roller option, you know, that could tilt a lot of guys at that tipping point in their careers, probably, I'm sure. So it's cool to see it grow.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's tough too, because you only know so many guys too that was just like strictly roller too, right? You know, and you're just like, how'd you keep yourself busy?
Yeah, it's not a lot of roller in the winters.
Yeah,
not at all.
So, but yeah, I mean, so we're looking at new roster this year, for the most part. We're looking at Heffy in the pipe still. We're looking at our goal set for, let's make playoffs at Arch. And then obviously the goal is get out of play-ins.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, I don't see anything unrealistic here, so
yeah, we've kept it pretty level-headed. We're excited. We're pumped. Like we're trying to keep it under check, but we're real excited for this summer.
Okay.
It's also, you know, we've been not doing this for a long time now, but enough time to where I think we get it at this point and we know where we're at, and, you know, we're just going to keep taking it day by day and work as hard as we can and make that next step.
Yeah, and I think it's time we need to make that next step. Like it's a disappointment, and we're bummed if we don't make that next step this summer. Like it's to that point where, we want to be taken seriously. We want to be contenders. This is the time to, really, really show it and make a move.
Okay. Do we have any final words? Anything? Any shout outs? Besides, you can't shout out Chris Farrar. He's not allowed.
We got to shout out Chris. Got to shout out the big man. I was just going to say that
Absolutely.
anyways. We touched on obviously our new sponsors, as there's kind of the recent news, but I mean, Chris has been awesome. He's the one that's, enabled us to, get under the champion banner and helped us take that next step. I mean, he was huge. He was huge in structuring it all. And like I said, you can't do it without your sponsors, and he's the biggest one. And I'm excited to have him back in person in State Wars, back on the bench. He's a good calming influence back there. Been around the game a long time, played a high level himself. So from both a hockey and, like a sponsorship business partner side, he's been awesome for us.
Yeah, very much so. None of this would be possible without him. So absolutely, all the hats off to Chris and everything he's done.
Yeah, I mean, I love Chris. You should even ask him to make you a pro card.
Yeah.
He's good at that. Tell him to make you a pro roller card and see what he comes up with.
All right, we'll have to give it a shot.
Yeah.
But, I think it's that time. And so, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. And if you're forechecking roller hockey, dole it up because there's no offsides. I'm Dan Dean. Dylan, Chet, thanks for joining me, guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.